All right, let's go.
Hi, I'm Hazel. It's almost Saturday today, and that makes it time to sit down and catch up on the WoW news of the week, what I've been up to, and answer some of your questions.
That's a pretty good cat. Like I would say it's a decent looking cat. A solid, like I'd say 7 or an 8 out of 10 cat. I actually have that shirt as well.
This week was a big week. First of all, we got the official patch release date announcement, finally. Patch 8.2 will be hitting live servers starting next week, so Tuesday, June 25th for NA, June 26th for EU, and then I think the 27th for Asia. And then the raid and dungeon content will be opening 2 weeks later,
number
starting
one,
on
man.
July the 9th.
Hey.
And all I can say is it's about time.
Yeah.
And I am deeply, deeply excited. There is going to be so much going on in 8.2. Along with the patch release date announcement and the patch features trailer, they also released a developer insights video.
Okay,
it was about a half hour long. I listened to it this morning, and I do strongly recommend listening it to yourself firsthand if all you've heard about it has been from people like me or like news sites like...
I saw your gameplay stream. Wow, now I'm downloading WoW. I'm 60 years old. I have 5 time to learn. Yo, Prophet, thank you very much for the $50, man. Yeah, you're gonna enjoy the game a lot. Like, you should play Classic too. Like, Classic is a fucking great game. Like, if you haven't played WoW yet, play Classic. Thank you very much for the 50, man.
At the notes, there is some nuance that I feel like you're only really going to get if you have the full wording, so I do recommend putting it on. You don't really need to look at it. He's mostly just doing the thing that everybody does when they're trying to talk on camera, which is try and figure out exactly how much hand talking is the right amount of hand talking. I don't know if anybody knows, but yeah, it's a good one to put on and then listen to while you're playing some WoW.
But as it turns out, we actually are kind of attached to our fleshy bits.
So they touched on a couple of topics, and for most of them, I do agree, with one major exception. And before getting into it, I would like to say that it's really nice to see like such a healthy like ratio on content that comes directly from the WoW team.
Yeah,
especially on something that is as clearly well thought out and sincere as this. It's just nice to know that the community can still listen to information before they immediately decide that they hate it. I'm not saying that that's how everybody handles media, but there is definitely a sensationalist bent these days, so it's nice that people can still be receptive to that. So
on YouTube, it's even worse than Twitch. Like, Twitch people don't like BFA, but on YouTube, holy shit. Like, YouTube is dominated by, like Classic zealots. And if you say anything bad about Classic, they will flip the fuck out. And it's the same thing with, like, if you say anything good about BFA, they will get so angry. Like, YouTube comments are worse than Twitch chat by a mile.
Particular order, they talked about class design philosophy and admitted that they took class pruning too far. And he also said that they prioritized spec identity at the expense of class identity, so that like the different specs of each classes have kind of come to feel a little bit too different from each other, which I never really had a problem with, but now that you think about it, it does make a lot of sense. It's kind of weird how like vastly different it feels to play an arcane mage versus a frost mage versus a fire mage. So I agree with that. It's nice to see where they stand on class design as far as complexity goes. I think it's promising for the future, although I would caution people against getting too excited right away. It's easy to get a little confused because this info was in a video that started out plugging patch 8.2, but these changes are not really happening in 8.2. Class design stuff I would not expect to see until patch 9.0, like the next expansion.
How are people okay with that? Like, how does everybody just be like, oh yeah, well, you know what? You're gonna have to play with the shitty version of your class for like 2 more years. Like, how is anybody okay with that? I mean, let's be honest, she's right though. Well, the reason she's right is because people they don't complain about it. I genuinely think that they had the Azerite Titan Resident Vendor planned for like patch 8.2 or 8.3. But the fact that everybody fucking complained about it so much, they brought it out earlier. The thing is that if people don't get pissed off about this shit, having to play a busted ass version of the game for this long, then yeah, I'm gonna say it's fucking annoying, man. Like, I'm so fucking tired of this shit. Like, they need to start making changes in the middle of the expansion rather than making people watch or wait through the game for fucking 2 years for it to work. It's ridiculous.
If you log in on Tuesday expecting to see all of your pruned buttons back, you're gonna have a bad day. He also talked about whether or not catch-up mechanics have gone too far. Once again, I think that this is an interesting topic of discussion, but it was never something that really bothered me. And I agree with where they landed on it, which is prioritizing getting somebody who wants to come back to the game or somebody new to the game caught up to the current tier of content so they can play with everybody else. I always, if I'm doing a piece of content to get some gear,
yeah, I
always do that with the expectation that that gear will be relevant for that patch, and then that's the end of it. And catch-up gear is usually the bottom tier of gear in any given patch, so it's not like somebody's going to come back and catch up beyond my current level. They're just getting caught up to like the baseline level of whatever patch we're in, and that's never personally bothered me. I never felt like my last patch's like grinding of Battle of Dazar lore, for example, was devalued, because it was devalued the moment 8.2 came out and I went and got new gear anyways.
I do. I do. I totally fucking do. Like, oh, by the way, mods, people that are posting any kind of a rude comment about her, depending on what it is, either time them out for the day or permaban them. And also, if it's something really bad, send in a report and make sure they get their account banned. The fuck out of here. No, I think that the gear should be valid for the entire expansion. Yes, I do feel like I'm wasting my fucking time playing a patch for 4 or 5 months, and then everything that I do in those 4 or 5 months is made completely invalid. Yes, I feel like there's a certain amount of futility there, especially whenever you're not able to complete it in time. And yes, I really, really don't like that. As far as we're going, yeah, I mean, we don't have to put it in sub mode. If the mods feel like you need to, then go ahead. But yeah, there's not going to be any sort of like rude comments or anything like that happening. Absolutely not.
I understand the argument to be made of wanting to feel like that work mattered in the long run, but it's never going to matter in the long run. You know, you're not going to be wearing your Battle of Dazar lore gear into the next patch. You get to keep your achievements and the memories of the friends you made along the way. And for me, that's enough. And then he also took a few minutes to talk about getting PVE gear from PvP, and vice versa, specifically at a high rating.
This is it.
This is a hot topic of discussion these days because of Titan essences. There are some very good ones from a variety of sources that will be good in both PvE and PvP. And a lot of people, myself included, have some strong feelings about that. So I'm glad they came out and clarified their position. I just wildly don't agree with their position. Like, this is where I get off the sounds good, makes sense train. His arguments in favor of it being okay to have the best PvP gear be available in PvE.
This is working great. Look at all these fucking subs. Like, this is the best idea. Like, yo, whoever I need to give that guy VIP. This is fucking amazing. Like, we've gotten so many subs, like, so many free fucking subs. Like, listen. Yeah, guys, if you have a Twitch Prime account, hey, you can go ahead and use it. It's easy, man. Holy shit. Yeah, this is a great idea. Just use sub mode all the time. I think I like watching the videos with chat without sub mode on. The only problem is that people can be extremely rude. And, you know, like I'm technically, you know, on Twitch, right, held liable for like the actions of my chat if they're happening on a large scale and I'm not trying to do anything about it. So it's actually not even me being a white knight or anything. I would do this anyway. I want you guys to know this anyway. Even if it wasn't against the rules, I would still like ban people that are talking shit like this because it's just disgusting and those people are poisonous, toxic human garbage. But I have to do it as well. So, you know, even if you can't agree with my logic, you have to agree with the pragmaticism.
And vice versa. He said that they want to stay in touch with the RPG roots where stats and rewards matter. He said they want your character to feel consistent moving from a raid into a PvP setting. They want you to feel like you're playing the same character on the same story. And he also said that RPG PvP is about asymmetry. So basically, they're okay with a player who is looking for the best PvP gear to have to go and mythic...
Just 1 second. I want to make one comment here. Last comment, then we'll get back into the... People can make fun of other YouTubers and streamers, but not her. Blazer X, who was being made fun of? Who did we make fun of besides her? Who was being made fun of that you think that there's a double standard here? Who was it?
Well, I mean, you make fun of Bellular for being bald. People make fun of Heels vs. Babyface for being loud and obnoxious. And I mean, everybody gets made fun of, dude.
Well, it depends, right? I mean, like Bellier, if you make fun of somebody else, right, for being bald, and you're obviously going bald, there's a certain amount of camaraderie, and it's a friendly tone. The people that are making fun of her and like saying that she's ugly or stupid or anything like that, or like making sexual comments towards her, there's no prior relationship that that person has with her that would make them understand that the comments that they're making are in a friendly tone or a friendly nature. They're just being rude, and they're trying to be hurtful and everything like that. It's a completely different connotation at all.
All right.
Am I wrong?
I'm not going to argue this.
Okay. Right, that's a band and punch in the face. No, I'm just saying, like, it's the same as, like, imagine this, right? Imagine if you have, like, your group of friends and, like, you always tease somebody for being short or something like that, and then some other person who's not part of your group of friends comes over there and teases that same other person for being short. It's like, you're not part of our friend group. Like, you don't, like, it's a completely different connotation. Like, what the fuck are you saying? Like, get out of here. It's completely different. All right, says his hair, said her hair was like a porn star. You saying porn star is bad? No, but it's obviously a rude comment. You're insinuating something. You know you're insinuating it. It's rude. Of course it's bad.
Grade to do it.
Okay.
And on the flip side, they're also okay with somebody who is like a cutting edge raider, like world first race material, to feel the need to go and do high end rated PvP in order to get the very best tools for the job.
Right.
So you know what? I'm not fully off the train. I am half off the train. I am actually, and this may be unpopular, but I am okay with the very, 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 very best PvE gear being available from PvP. First of all, it's just another thing that the World First Raiders are going to add to their gold debt. They're just going to buy self-play carries with gold. And those people are their own species. Those cutting-edge raiders that will do anything for the best advantage.
Okay,
at least I have
that's true.
accepted for a while now. They are a different kind of person from me, and I think that it's okay that they do insane things that I don't do because it doesn't affect my ability to progress through the content. So what I'm saying is that I'm okay with a World First Raider being able to do PvP, get their best in slot thing, and kill the boss earlier.
Great.
Because I don't have to go do that thing in order to kill the boss. I'm just going to do it later. Like a raid boss is a static difficulty enemy that, if anything, gets easier over time.
Yes, that's
as
true.
people gear up and as they nerf the bosses. So
True.
I'm still going to be able to do it, just not as early, and that's kind of something we've already accepted. Like, unless you're willing to run split raids and buy the very best consumables and like trade BOEs across servers and like go into gold debt, like unless you're willing to do all of the stuff that Method did, you don't really have to stress about being missing something on day one because you're still going to be able to clear the raid even without getting like an elite PvP item. So that's fine to me, but the flip side is where I get fully off the train.
Okay, here we go.
In PvP, my opponent will always be as hard as the other person playing plus their gear, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's never going to get nerfed. I'm never going to outgear them. And this whole philosophy of trying to make you progress via gearing in rated PvP is, in my opinion, just inherently a mess. Your PvP opponent has access to every advantage that you do, and they will always have that thing. So there's a much greater incentive for them to go get that mythic rating trinket, again, probably through a gold carry. And that person will always have that advantage, and I think that makes it a much more expected thing for a high-end PvPer to have to do, especially in order to get like accepted into groups and whatnot. So I respect what they're saying about wanting to follow the rules of an RPG, wanting to progress in gear to make something easier. I just think that that philosophy, it is not compatible with competitive rated PvP. By all means, have gear matter, have raid trinkets work, have raid essences work in world PvP, in unrated.
I think that only works really, what she's saying, I think that only really makes sense in the context that rated world PvP exists in a vacuum and not within a game that's larger than rated world PvP itself. And also in the tournament realms, whenever rated PvP really matters, everybody has access to all of the same stuff. So I don't think that the idea that, you know, giving people the option to make their character better in rated PvP is a bad thing at all. And also, I think it's even a good thing. If people want to have a completely fair experience, they can go and play Counter-Strike or go play League of Legends, where everybody basically starts off on the same foot. That's the way that I look at it. Competitive and PvP and MMO is just dumb play a shooter. Yeah, I mean, if you want to have a completely fair and balanced environment, go play a game that is about that. WoW has always been an MMO that's about progressing your character. You can't suspend that just for some artificial sense of fairness, because the game is fundamentally unfair anyway, right? There's like a million unfair mechanics that happen in the game. And if you just start trying to make everything fair, you make it boring. Like, I mean, I think that we can literally look as an example of, like, look how bad the arena tournaments are doing. Look how little people are interested in PvP. And this has been the same. Like, obviously, the Crucible gear has made it worse. But in general, people don't care a whole lot about the game in general because of PvP. And Legion was even worse. Legion, everybody was on the same playing field, basically. Did that help anybody out? I would say it didn't.
GGs
What's
in
up, Zach?
skirmishes. Go nuts, you know, gear up and then stomp on all the people that don't have gear yet. That's fine to me, but once you take that attitude into a rated ladder environment, you've just completely compromised any kind of competitive integrity that ladder is supposed to have. I think that a rated competitive PvP mode needs to have nothing separating players except for their own skill and the choices they made in a loadout, and ideally everyone has access to the same choices.
They do on tournament realms. And they do. On tournament realms, that's basically what they have. Like, they have that. Like, if you want to go into an actual tournament realm and compete for real money and everything, then everybody has the exact same thing. But the issue is that whenever you want to take that mentality, and the problem with this is that is probably, like, what she's saying is probably good for, like, the top 5 or 10% of players that are in rated PvP that want to have a completely fair and balanced experience. The problem, though, is that the other 80% of players that want to be able to get better gear and beat each other in rated PvP because they have that gear all get fucked over because of some sense of fairness in a game that's fundamentally unfair.
My opinion, and this is an opinion, but progression in rated PvP should mean practicing and getting better. It does not mean grinding at a content that is completely unrelated from PvP, the thing you're trying to do, in order to gear up and then just have an unfair advantage. I don't think that's very esporty.
It's not. Thank God. WoW doesn't have to be an esport. Yeah, it doesn't have to be an esport. Did we hit 60 million views? Holy shit, boys. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate it, guys. 60 million fucking viewers. Wow. Thank you, everybody, so much. I do really appreciate all the support and everything. Thank you, everybody, guys. 60 fucking million. Yeah, it doesn't need to be an esport. The game doesn't need to be an esport. Like, the game has a competitive, fair environment whenever you're talking about actual competition. But it's not like, I mean, the thing is with, like, this PvE gear and PvP gear, like, you look at the people that are competing every single season, every expansion, it's always the same people. Like, it doesn't matter if they have PvE gear or not. You're seeing the same people in the tournaments. And that's where it really matters. Someone's better chat experience. I know it is, but I like to give everybody the opportunity to talk and everything like that. Biggest issue with PvP here at the moment is Titan forging. Yeah, I mean, obviously that's bad, but I think absolutely, like, if you get really good PvE gear, you should be able to use that in rated PvP. Absolutely. Now, should it be able to just stomp on PvP gear? Absolutely not. No, but you should be able to get really good gear in PvE and use it in rated PvP. 100%. It's an MMO.
And if WoW wants to be taken seriously as a competitive esport, and
it never will be, because it's hard for people. Like, the reason, like, WoW will never be taken seriously as a competitive esport. It will never happen. The reason for that is it's impossible for spectators to watch the game. Like, unless you play WoW, you don't understand what the fuck is happening in the game. How do I know that for a fact? I will tell you why. Because whenever I was at BlizzCon, and you know those two blow-up things that you, like, beat together for, like, clapping whenever an esports match is going on? People are clapping that shit together like fucking, you know, like those little monkeys with the little symbols together. They were going crazy. They were clapping that shit together whenever a rat paladin was about to die, but he had auto bubble. Every rat paladin had auto bubble, but they were all clapping him together because they thought he was going to die. Even the people that go to BlizzCon have no fucking idea what's going on. Nobody knows what the hell is happening here. Like, the classic WoW, like, WoW is never going to be an esport. And if it is ever going to be an esport, the last place that's going to happen is going to be Arena. Arena is the worst people, the worst way for doing fucking esports, I think. Do you have a hard time arguing with people IRL because just the pause button to cut them off? No, usually I just wait for them to stop talking and then I respond in like a normal way, right? I mean, of course. Then why is the money reward for PvP so small? Because Blizzard doesn't want to invest money into WoW as an esport because they don't feel like it has any growth potential. And they don't want to invest any money, and it's not growing. Like WoW PvP, if anything, is shrinking. And yeah, that's why. They're not going to... Why would you spend a bunch of money on something that you think isn't going to return that amount of money? It just makes sense. No rated BGs or the worst esport. I think BGs would be a better esport than Arena, personally. I absolutely do think so. It's so hard to understand for non-WoW players. Yeah, they're never going to take it seriously. They already have Overwatch. Why spend money on WoW? Well, they didn't spend money on WoW before Overwatch as well. It's not like Overwatch was unique. Is it a problem PvE is made to kill a billion HP? Of course, in PvP, don't put resilience gear. Well, no, because it's a different dynamic. They can make Mythic Plus work too. Mythic Plus can work. I think Islands could work. I think there's a lot of things that they could do. But Team Deathmatch 3v3 Arena is way too complex for players to understand. And there's no goals and like different objectives in 3v3 Arena that people can understand and keep track of in a way that's easy for a non-player or a non-high-level player to understand. So like WoW PvP just completely fucks itself in that way.
It's no secret that the WoW esports scene is struggling.
Yeah.
I think that this is something that they really need to give up on and let go of. I don't think they're going to. I think they've made themselves very clear that they are unwilling to tear PvP off from the mesh of the rest of the game, or at least ladder PvP, and make it its own thing. And it's just kind of...
They did that in Legion. Like, I mean, they did this in Legion. They basically gave people a stat template, your trinkets, your gear, nothing matters, only your item level. And people had an item level variance of maybe like 5. Like, so that was like, what, 0.5% stat difference? It was nothing. It has nothing to do with the gear that people were able to use in PvP. It has nothing to do with it.
They've existed in this awkward middle space that now has so many barriers to entry for anybody new that wants to get into Arena.
That is true.
Like, the whole driving force, in my opinion, the whole appeal of an esport is looking at it and cheering for it and saying, I could do that. And then you log into the game and you go, wait a minute, I can't do that. I need all of my Azerite gear. I need all of my Titan essences. I need to level up my neck. I need to go run this old raid to get this trinket that's overtuned and is going to do 10% of my damage in this arena game. You can't, you're not, like, that's time that you're not even practicing and you're going to get into the game, even if you get all that stuff, and you're still going to suck. I've gotten kind of off topic here, but hopefully I've made my point clear. I respect where they're coming from. I just don't agree at all. Watching these developer insight videos, it just feels like they're pretty in touch with their raiding community. I feel like they know how raiders play, what their goals are, and what they want.
Then why did they delete Master Looter? Then why did they do that? Yeah, there's no way. They're not in touch with the raiders at all. Like, I mean, you look at, like, a lot of the people that I know are in high-end raiding guilds are not really happy with, like, the way, like, oh, yeah, if they're so in touch with the raiding community, then why is the raiding community talking about how much islands are going to make the game unfun for them before the raid? Here's a link here I can show you guys. So this is a post right here. Hello, few islanders. If you want to see what true hell is like, at least on a PTR, at the moment, islands have been changed in terms of items. And these people right here are obviously doing, these are all like high-end raiders that are unhappy with the way that the game is evolving. I don't think they're in touch with the high-end raiding community at all.
And I also feel like they're pretty in touch with the casual community, and they sort of have a grasp on how people that like collecting and alts and cosmetics play and what they want.
I will say that Blizzard does do a very good job with cosmetics. Like, in general, they do. I think that they need to dial back the amount of them because I think it just kind of deludes the fulfillment of getting each one. But in general, I think Blizzard is pretty good at doing cosmetics. That is something I would agree with.
Dilute, not delude.
I said diluted.
It's dilute.
Feels to me, based on these communications, that they are utterly out of touch with their competitive PvP community. I do not get the sense that anybody making these decisions has personal experience. I could be wrong. You know, maybe there's a bunch of gladiators that are pulling the strings here, but I do not get that impression from their stance on stuff like this. It's just disappointing to see. It's like I feel like it's probably a low priority for them because like high-end rated PvP is such a small niche community. It's a very small community. It's not a large amount of people. And it's going to stay a very small community unless we lift some of these barriers to entry and make it easier to get started and go, and then face the fact that you suck instead of the fact that you're not geared.
This is literally what they did in Legion. Like, we've already tried this. Like, we've already done this exact same thing. That they did this same mentality and did it in WoD to a certain extent too, with like trying to tone down the highs and the lows between people having really good gear versus bad gear. They did that in Mists of Pandaria too, I believe, as well. They've already done this. It didn't work. It achieved the opposite effect, because anybody who truly cares about a absolutely fair and balanced playing scenario is not playing WoW to begin with. They're not playing WoW. They're playing another game. Best way to get your cock hard is, best way to get your cock hard is by owning people with shit gear. Exactly. Yeah, hell yeah, dude. That's what it's about. Legion PvP was at its worst. Exactly. Yeah, they literally tried this and it didn't work. Do you know what Final Fantasy has a completely separate PvP portion of the game except for the abilities and such? That could be a cool way to do PvP. Really? How many people watch Final Fantasy PvP? How many people care about it? Nobody. Nobody cares about it. Like, yes, I love the idea of let's emulate other games that are massive failures, right? Like, they're not massive failures, but WoW is substantially better than any of these other MMOs. There are more people that play it. It's been around much longer. I don't think just because other MMOs do something, that means WoW should do it too. That sometimes that's the case, sometimes it's not.
Anyways, other things that happened this week, they announced an XP nerf that is specifically targeting Island Expedition twink characters, power leveling other people through Island Expeditions. Some people were upset about this. It didn't faze me at all because I didn't power level through Island Expeditions, and I don't really see a strong need for it. Like, leveling 110 to 120 does not take long. It's not difficult, and you can progress towards other goals.
Well, neither is putting a nail through your hand with a hammer. It doesn't take very long at all, and it's pretty fucking easy. But it's painful. It's almost as painful as having to level through Drusvar again. Like, I fucking hate leveling in BFA. Like, what do you mean? There's so many ways. Like, yeah, there's plenty of things that don't take that long, but it's not fun. Like, at least in the islands, you know that you're getting maybe a mount out of it or something. Give me a break. Heirlooms? Heirlooms don't make it better either. Why nerf the XP whenever no one plays the fucking game? Well, the reason is because Blizzard has their own narrow way that they expect people to play the game. And once you step out of that, you're done. They fix it. As I said, they make the game like a theme park, and whenever you find a ride that you like, they shut it down.
Also doing it. So it just seems like they're reining in like an unexpected method of leveling, and that makes sense to me.
Unexpected.
It's not going to, it doesn't seem like the change is going to impact anybody outside of people that were specifically doing that, so I'm on board.
Well, obviously the change is not going to impact people outside of the people that are participating in the content that the change is supposed to impact. Like, yes, obviously. But the change itself is not bad. It doesn't make a difference one way or another. The problem is that it's the philosophy behind the change. Right? Players are actually doing something different, and Blizzard reins it in because they're moving outside of the bounds of Blizzard-approved fun. That's the issue.
The Midsummer Fire Festival starts today, and there is a new cosmetic Hearthstone for Burning Blossoms. So
I got that last night.
I know there's like a lot of stuff going on, but like
yep,
now
I got it last
before
night.
The patch comes out would be a great time to go visit some bonfires and work on that. In my life this week, I reached Twitch affiliate on my burgeoning, bludgeoning, blossoming. I started a Twitch stream, and it's going okay so far.
Great.
And we have unlocked affiliate, so starting on Sunday, my next stream, I'll be able to accept any Twitch Prime subs or otherwise subs. Thank you very much to everybody that has been stopping by and supporting that. It means a lot to me. And then in completely not WoW news, Harry Potter Wizards Unite came out, which is basically the Harry Potter...
Okay, so basically that's pretty much how I feel about it, right? Is that, yeah. So... I feel like the video is obviously pretty good. The points that she made, I don't think necessarily made a lot of sense, but, you know, I think that Blizzard has tried making rated PvP a completely fair endeavor, and they've ended up alienating the player base in the process. The truth is that a lot of people want an experience where they can get better gear and stomp people whenever they have better gear. And like that's why people play WoW. If they didn't like that experience, they probably would be playing another game to begin with. Link the channel. I will link the channel in the video. Okay, there's the video. Actually, I'll link the channel. There you go. This is who we just watched, all right? There you go. You think that the and we can take it off sub mode here. It's off. Okay, there we go. Yeah, since the video's over. Anyway, I'm very, very glad that we watched that. I think that she had a number of decent points, right? And but overall, I do really disagree with the idea of like not having PvP gear or PvE gear in PvP. I always think that should be it, man. And that's it. There's no idea. You need heirlooms to level now. Well, you needed those before, but I don't really use them, to be honest. I don't really give a shit. What's it? But you didn't finish? Well, I'm assuming she's talking about other games, right? Like, what else is this?
Better version of Pokemon Go, but different. That when I probably should have been here editing. While I was doing that, I was so absorbed and focused on what I was doing on my phone that there were bought from the Blizzard Gear store at various points in time. Most of them and all of the whelplings, unfortunately, are no longer available on the Gear store. They very much like to put things in the store and then take them off without warning forever sometimes. They still offer...
Not forever, just to create an artificial scarcity and then bring them back over and put them back on the store for a higher price later on, or the same price later on, and then get more people to buy them then.
Like the Murloc and the Shadow and like the newer plushies, the baby Tortolan with the traumatized look on his face, he's still in the store.
Thank
yeah,
God.
Blizzard Gear. Same thing for the posters.
Thank
if anybody's
God.
wondering about those. Blizzard Gear no longer available. Nisbet, if you could add any other game to WoW, kind of like Pokemon got slipped in as pet battles, what would it be? I'd quite like Mario Kart style racing. So Darkman Fair Racing, actually like the closest thing, I think, and I'm sure you already know about this, to Mario Kart style racing, but I get that it's like just you, it's not a competitive thing.
Yeah, I mean, this is just like her talking about like other like random stuff and like doing a Q&A with like her viewers. But I knew that she was basically done with the discussion part of the video, so that's why I cut it. She wants to react to your video. Well, I mean, like if she wants to watch, that's great. But all for making Darkmoon Fair more fun. Well, I mean, I think everybody is, right? Obviously, that's what we want to do. She'll fail. I mean, I don't think anybody's gonna fail in Classic. Like, if you fail in Classic, it's because you're not trying. Like, Classic is infinitely easier to play than BFA, right? I mean, like, all you do is you just show up and you play the game. Like, I'm sorry, but it's not that hard. Just watching your stream? Hi. Proud is playing a WOD poster. Listen, dude. WOD, it was supposed to be really good, all right? Now, it wasn't. It's unfortunate that it wasn't. But, you know what? That's the way it fucking goes sometimes.